10 Dark Secrets from the Cast of Game of Thrones. Hey, are you a fan of the hit HBO fantasy series Game of Thrones? Well, you're in for a surprise as we reveal some of the darkest secrets from the cast of the hit show. Number 1. Emilia Clarke suffered brain aneurysms. In Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke is best known for playing the role of Daenerys Targaryen, also known as the Mother of Dragons. While Clarke is a far cry from her character, one thing they do have in common is that they went through some tough times in their life. In particular, Emilia suffered from a brain aneurysm. Not one, but two. Due to her health scares, the actress had to undergo surgeries. She shares details about her health scare and the surgery she underwent in an exclusive essay for The New Yorker. It was February 2011 when Emilia Clarke first realized she had brain damage, shortly after filming the first season of Game of Thrones. While she was working out, she felt an excruciating pain that she likened to a rubber band snapping inside of her head. Little did she know that she suffered a hemorrhage stroke and bleeding in her brain. For this, she had to undergo surgery and recovered just in time to return filming the next season of Game of Thrones. But it was revealed that she had another swollen blood vessel in her brain, so she had to undergo another surgery 2 years after the first one. The second brain surgery was more complicated, as it had to go through her skull. She also cited that she found the second surgery more challenging and much harder to stay optimistic. Thankfully, she recovered in time to go back to filming Game of Thrones. Clarke cited that playing the character of Daenerys helped her recover, saying, "You go on set, you play a badass. You walk through fire, and that became the thing that saved me from considering my own mortality." 2. Controversy on Sean Bean's domestic life. In the show, Sean Bean plays the role of Eddard Stark. His character is the head of the House of Stark, and is one of the major nobles in the family. He plays the character of an honorable man, almost to a fault. In real life, Sean Bean is a far cry from his honorable and respected patriarch character though. He has a secret dark past that includes being arrested after claims from his former wife that he had been harassing her. This incident took place in 2012 after Bean had sent a number of text messages and abusive calls to his ex-wife, Georgina Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe is Bean's fourth wife. It was reported that Bean made a personal appearance to the Holborn police station in London after the claims from his wife. After fingerprints and a DNA swab were taken, he was released after posting bail on that same day. According to a spokesperson from the police station, he was arrested upon suspicion of harassment. This is not the first time that Bean had been in hot water regarding his former wife though. He was also arrested in 2008 over the same suspicions, although that one did not escalate as it was deemed a domestic row and not a direct assault. 3. Lena, Headey, and Jerome Flynn could not stand each other. Can you imagine working with your ex, with whom you had a bitter end to your relationship with? Well, Lena Headey and Jerome Flynn need not imagine, as they were in this exact same position. In 2002, the pair dated briefly, and suffice it to say, the relationship ended poorly. Good thing, the producers were well aware of it and tried their best to keep the two apart at all costs. It was reported that they would not even share a hello with each other on the set. In the season 7 finale, Cersei and the leaders of the Seven Kingdoms assembled to discuss the fate of the country. In that scene, Bronn went for a drink with Podrick Payne instead. It was part of the producers' method to keep the two apart from appearing on the same scene and being on the set together. 4. Game of Thrones casting scam. In 2014, a casting scam broke out in Game of Thrones, wherein scam artists were allegedly duping actors with the false promise that they could land them a spot in the hit HBO show. In exchange, these scam artists asked these aspiring actors for money in exchange for being casted. 2 men were arrested after Spanish citizens were promised a small role on the TV drama. This happened after it was announced that some scenes of Game of Thrones were to be shot in the city of Seville in Spain. In less than 24 hours after this announcement, over 10,000 Spanish citizens applied to get on the show. The 2 men involved in the scam set up a fake website, claiming to be the official casting company for the show in Spain. According to the Spanish police, it was reported that the two were able to make 79,000 euros in this casting scam. This was the official statement from the Spanish police. The fraudsters, who are based in Ibiza, created a website almost identical to the genuine Game of Thrones site. Given the success of the series and the excitement over the forthcoming filming of some episodes in Seville, the number of calls received was very high. It was the perfect hook for a big scam. 5. The infamous Walk of Shame. Who could forget that infamous Walk of Shame scene by Lena Headey? In this scene, she had to walk naked through King's Landing as penance after she was imprisoned at the Sept. Even though she was acting, Lena felt an intense sense of humiliation that she believed nobody ever deserved it. But that is not the only source of controversy here. The producers and the church leaders, where they had to shoot the film, also experienced friction during the shooting. The church had reportedly refused to allow them to shoot the scene on the grounds. As a result, the showrunner had to scramble to find a backup location for the scene. Everything worked out for the good though. According to one of the producers, It always happens, and it puts more work on the location teams, but it always ends up working out. 6. Kit Harington's butt double. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, then you probably know that the show has more than enough female nudity to go around. The case isn't the same for male nudity, however. There are a few bits and pieces throughout the seasons, but definitely not as much as the women on the show. There was one particular season, though, where Jon Snow himself featured in a steamy scene with Ygritte in a cave. In this scene, viewers of the show had a glimpse of Kit Harington's backside. But before you get too excited, it turns out that this was only a double and not Kit's. The double was that of a crew member who had the same build and color as Jon Snow. 7. Jason Momoa's rape joke. In 2017, Jason Momoa got into hot water after he joked about rape while attending the Comic-Con panel in 2011. At the said event, Momoa was asked to share his experience playing the violent character of Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. The Aquaman star said this of his character on the show. As far as sci-fi and fantasy, I love that genre because there are so many things you can do, like rip someone's tongue out of their throat and get away with it, and rape beautiful women. This statement stirred up reactions from fans, especially following the Me Too movement. Seeing that it had outraged the fans, Momoa quickly turned to his Instagram to issue a public apology about his previous statement. I am still severely disappointed in myself at the insensitivity of my remarks that day. I know my sincerest apologies now won't take away from those hurtful words. Rape and sexual harassment can reach anyone, and I have seen firsthand its painful torment along members of my own family and friends. I made a truly tasteless comment. It is unacceptable and I sincerely apologize with a heavy heart for the words I said. 8. Lena Headey's financial woes. Cersei Lannister might be sitting on mountains of gold in her role in Game of Thrones, but this was far cry from her real-life situation in 2012, following a divorce from her then-husband, Peter Lochran, an Irish musician. Her financial woes post-divorce was reportedly unbearable, such that she only had $5 in her bank account, and this was a year after she was on the show. She had to rely on her credit cards to pay for her 2-year-old son's living expenses. The two cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for the divorce filing. This came only after 5 years of marriage. In the emergency court filing by her ex-husband, Lochran asked for half of the $46,000 tax refund from the couple in 2011. Headey responded asking the court to give her $6,000 in advance from their joint fund as she was battling for child custody. The once broke actress has recovered from her financial woes though. In 2014, she bought a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom home in California valued at $790,000. 9. Emilia Clarke was a victim of bullying. While it might be hard to imagine now given the worldwide success of Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke was once the victim of bullying as a kid. In particular, her eyebrows were what caused her a lot of trouble in school. At a young age, her mother would not let Emilia wax her brows, causing them to become fully grown and gaining much attention from the school bullies. According to Emilia, my mom had rules when I was growing up. She states that not touching her eyebrows was one of them, so I got bullied as a kid for having ridiculous eyebrows. 10. Fans hated Lena Headey in real life. Lena Headey did an amazing job playing Cersei Lannister in HBO's Game of Thrones. She is one of the most hated characters on the show, but apparently in real life too. She claimed that people shunned or insulted her in real life, probably because they hated her on-screen persona so much. It's hard to blame the fans as Cersei was undeniably diabolical. According to Headey, fans would ignore her, especially when sitting next to Emilia Clarke and Peter Dinklage. She says, "People were giving Pete the books to sign, and they kept moving away from me as if I was going to curse them." Which of these Game of Thrones cast secrets were you most surprised about? Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts on the cast, or other secrets you might have in the comments.